M1 MacBook Pro and Air, M2 MacBook Air, 16-inch M1 Pro. I've talked about all these models on my channel many times. There's only one MacBook I held off talking about, and this is, of course, the 14-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip. And guys, I've got something to tell you. Sit back and strap in, because today we have the 14-inch M1 Pro long-term 1-year review. Okay? Go. I've talked about the 14-inch Pro many times on this channel, but mostly in the context of comparison with other MacBooks or buying guides. But I never made a separate video about it for one simple reason. It's almost the same as my 16-inch Pro. The difference is only in the size of the screen and of course the price. But it has several significant advantages over its 16-inch older brother, and unfortunately it's not without a few flaws as well. As you know, I edit videos all the time. What can I say? It's my life. So I think it's clear to everyone that 14 and 16-inch are similar in performance if they have the same chip, and performance differences are not that significant. So for comparison, I'll show you the test results of the 16-inch M1 Max. And surprisingly, at some tasks, the 14-inch M1 Pro outperforms its brother. And I know you don't like editing examples, but let me praise this boy a little bit, because I feel like this laptop might be better suited for video editing than any other laptop from Apple. I'll be quick, I promise. Let's look at the Final Cut Pro X and compressor. Here we are immediately in for a surprise. Working with 4K, the 14-inch Pro even slightly outperforms the M1 Max. And although the difference is minimal, we can at least prove that the 14-inch Pro is not a slow laptop. Exporting 8K files into 4 video formats makes the difference in performance more evident. M1 Max's higher number, of course, as expected, delivers a massive difference in the test results. Not in favor of the Pro, of course. In DaVinci Resolve, the laptop performs great. 4K ProRes 444, any formats, any codecs can be processed without any problems. Moreover, if you just need to edit simple YouTube videos, then don't bother with it. It would be a total overkill for that. Having said that, you can consider this laptop as a powerful editing machine with further potential. Okay, I'm done now. Enough video editing for today. And what about web browsing? I think it's pretty clear that everything works fine here. So you can open 1,000 tabs or more if you desire. Actually, if I get 5K likes under this video, I will make one where I open 1,000 tabs on this Mac. For the benchmark fans, here's the result of the Jetstream 2 JavaScript browser benchmark launched in Safari. 208 points is an excellent result. Shout out to all the IT people. I'm not a software developer by any means, but I will certainly express my extremely important opinion that I based on the experience of my friends and acquaintances from the IT world. Regarding the 14-inch Mac, everyone keeps saying that most programming languages are well supported here. There are JavaScript, Python, Go, PHP, and so on. And of course, how can we forget Xcode? Some people choose a MacBook because it's a MacBook, and I'm happy to report that it works just fine on this Pro model. We used one of the benchmarks for Xcode to test it out, and as you might know, the important thing here is the number of cores. And in the M1 Pro, there are 8 CPU cores that can complete the task in 117 seconds. Here are the results with other MacBooks using this same benchmark. I think you will agree that the results are pretty impressive compared to the top-end 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro as its maxed out model. And of course, Apple is ahead of the rest here, since this is their own software on their own hardware. If you work in any particular software, then before getting a MacBook, check its compatibility, because certain programs may not work as well on Apple Silicon. For those who care about running Windows on a MacBook Pro 14, stay tuned, because we'll be discussing that later. But what about 3D rendering? For many, the MacBook Pro is a controversial solution for this type of task. I can say that it's both pleasure and pain. The best part is that Apple didn't lie a year ago when they said that their processors can use unified memory to help out video memory. And therefore, the real-time work is really popping up here, since the MacBook easily creates swap files that speed up work in 3D. But then, what's the catch? Rendering here Blender is not that fast. Here are the tests in Redshift benchmark. It overtook even the top-end 16-inch MacBook Pro on the M1 Max, no matter how counterintuitive it sounds. But to hell with these benchmarks. In real life, I didn't experience much pain when working with 3D. But it's also worth considering that I'm not a CGI professional, I'm just an amateur who sometimes enjoys shoving different models into Blender, and the laptop works just fine with that. Speaking of Blender, even before being optimized, this MacBook showed excellent results in real time. And given the fact that in October 2021, Apple joined the Blender Development Fund, Apple also provides engineering and technical support and helps in the development of the project. As a result, all MacBooks support Blender by default. And if you are interested in Blender, then 14-inch M1 Pro or M1 Max chip will work just fine for you. This is also considering the fact that this software will continue to develop for better compatibility with Apple chips. And now let's move on to my favorite Adobe stuff. Photoshop, Lightroom, and After Effects. And this video is not sponsored by Adobe. Let's start with Photoshop, and fortunately the optimization here is at the top level. It runs fast and smoothly without any hiccups. You can create multi-layered complex compositions, and the 14-inch Pro can easily cope with the workload. And if you're interested in numbers, here's a test for you. Open in 100 PSD files with a total size of 25 gigabytes, and on a 14-inch Pro it took about 2 minutes and 17 seconds, while the old 16-inch MacBook Pro 2019 took almost 7 minutes. All in all, Photoshop works great on the base 14-inch MacBook Pro. It's a similar story with Lightroom. Let's take a look at the export results of 100 processed photos. I think you already know that RAM is very important for Lightroom, and 16 gigs is the bare minimum. So if you are a photographer, then look for models with 16 gigabytes of memory, and even the base MacBook Pro 14 is an amazing option for photographers and digital artists in general. But what about After Effects? As you might guess, everything is fine here. I took one of the projects with ProRes 422 with Alpha Channel and sent it to render. This guy in the face of the 14-inch MacBook Pro just rips and flies. Just look at the test results and specifically the performance gap with the 2019 flagship. If you make motion, 2D graphics, then this MacBook Pro will be a pleasure to work with. Got into editing again. I already told you about the magical software called Parallels Desktop. After the launch, they released a technical preview of the software which supported Apple Silicon, and then they released a Parallels version that works great on M1 Pro, M1, M1 Max processors, so it runs a Windows 11 virtual machine. All apps work great, thanks to the good work of both the Parallels and Microsoft team. But keep in mind that resource-intensive tasks require more of what? That's right, resources. Therefore, if your main activity and interaction is based on working with Windows, then getting a Mac does not make much sense, but in general, if you disregard this fact and still go for a Mac, then budget for more unified memory. But we already talked about this in this video right here. What about video games? We all know how great Macs are as a gaming platform. Out of pure curiosity, I launched the legendary Half-Life 2 and it ran without problems. It got a stable 120 FPS. After that, I launched something heavier. Oh yes, Skyrim. The 2011 game, and it also starts without problems. But I would say it didn't run fast. I got an average of 20 to 25 frames per second. The launch was more needed to monitor the use of resources, and the conclusions are the processor is practically resting, but the graphics cores worked at full capacity. At the same time, the temperature began to rise, but the fans did their job well and didn't allow the Mac to overheat. So on the base 14-inch MacBook Pro, using Parallels, you can play games and run apps on virtual windows. But of course, don't forget about Apple Arcade. If you watched our M2 MacBook video after a month of use, then you know that games from Apple Arcade are weird at the very least. They heat up the laptop, subsequently leading to throttling. There's also active cooling, which positively affects the performance. So go ahead and do your thing, gamer boys. Despite the fact that I am hardly a musician, we conducted a test in Logic Pro for the musically gifted viewers. We used Billie Eilish's demo for Ocean Eyes and output it to AIF format. The 14-inch MacBook Pro, although slightly behind its older brother, is still not as critical as it might seem at first glance, because at the same time it overtakes the most powerful 27-inch iMac And isn't that a miracle? So if we talk about the overall impressions, then they are really similar to the MacBook Pro 16 because the design is similar, the difference is only in the form factor and price. But is it critical? Due to the large case, the 16-inch Pro has better sounding speakers than the 14 Pro. Also, the smaller size of the laptop yields a shorter battery life. The 14-inch Pro has less space in the body, so the battery capacity is obviously less here. When tested in benchmarks, the 14-inch Pro battery dropped to 86% in 35 minutes, and the 16 Pro dropped to 91%. But here are all the promised 17 hours of battery life. And of course, with very intensive loads, the time can decrease, but in some simple tasks such as watching movies, writing scripts, and surfing, it is as promised. But you shouldn't be too happy about it because there are much better options on the market for watching movies and writing scripts, and we talked about this here. You can check it out after you are done with this video. But smaller dimensions compared to the 16-inch model really make a big difference. And this 14-inch MacBook Pro is also a whole pound lighter and 22% more compact. While the performance is comparable and the 14-inch Pro will seem like a smarter purchase in terms of price plus functionality than the 16-inch Pro. So you can get a 14-inch MacBook Pro for complex video editing, fast rendering, as well as professional work with sound and graphics in any way, shape, or form. With this laptop, you won't have to worry about performance. The 14-inch M1 Pro is ideal for any kind of professional who needs a powerful yet compact device. And if you enjoyed this video, then also go ahead and click on this video and this one, and see you in the next one.